Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our Swift programming tutorial series, and in this particular tutorial we are going to be discussing type alias in Swift. Now, what is type alias? Well, type alias is a way for you to define an alternative name for a long and complex type, as well as just any other type in Swift. Now, one thing to note about type aliases is that many developers find them to be a little bit confusing when used in practice, because sometimes especially if you're new to a code base and you're not familiar with it and all that stuff, you see a type alias and you might think, was that like some kind of object somewhere, or like, what's this? Like, what is this used for? Kind of thing. So many people just prefer to use the normal types, like a closure or a string or whatever the case may be, and deal with that as it is, instead of using a type alias. Some people will choose to use type aliases for multiple protocol conformance. We'll talk about protocols and conformance to protocols in a later video, but people do use type aliases for that to make things a little bit easier. Apple uses type aliases in that same way for multiple protocol conformance, where they have a type alias called codable, which is just a type alias for conforming to the encodable and decodable protocols, which you'll learn about codable in my iOS development series that's upcoming for UIKit. But if you've watched my Swift UI videos, you might know what codable is already, because I have a video covering codable a little bit when it comes to network requests. Alright, so let's go ahead and actually implement a type alias. So let's say in Xcode I have a method, and this method is going to be func do something. But func do something, we want this method to take in a closure. And this closure is going to be called perform. And this closure takes in nothing and returns nothing. And we can just say perform, like that. And there's our method. However, we could replace that type with a type alias. Now, to create a type alias, what we can do is we can say type alias. We'll say some action to perform equals, and then the type that we want to alias. So in this case, it's going to be our little closure here, like that. And that's our type alias. So we have type alias, some action to perform, equals, and then the closure type. that we put in there. So the closure type that returns nothing and takes in nothing. Relatively simple example there. So let's now go ahead and instead of having the closure, we can have some action to perform. And there we go. And now the function signature reads func do something, perform, some action to perform, instead of having that closure type in there. So we can call do something by saying do something, and then we can say here, when we open up our parenthesis, you can see our one parameter, perform, and it shows as some action to perform. So let's do the autocomplete. Right? So here we can now just say open up our closure, print some action was executed. Save it, run it, and now we get some action was executed. Now, of course, while this does read a lot cleaner, some people don't like this particular way of using a type alias because, again, it can confuse people. Because maybe you're new to the code base and you don't know what some action to perform is. You're going to think, oh, is that like some kind of weird object that I need to look at or whatever? And then they have to go and they have to jump to its definition to see, oh, it's just a type alias for a closure that takes nothing and returns nothing. And it can be a little bit confusing. And that's part of the controversy really behind type aliases. So let's go ahead and look at another example. Let's say we have a logger class. So class logger but we also have an enum called log level. Where case let's say case info equals info debug equals debug warning equals warning. Danger equals danger. All right, and we can say func log underscore level log level with message string, and we can print level dot raw value. And message like that. All right. So we have a logger with a log message that takes in a log level enum and a string, but at the call site, right? Let's say we create a var logger equals logger. We can say logger.log. We'll say dot info. Now with string, and we say this is a message. You can see when you say with and then a string, when you're filling in the parameter types and stuff, what exactly does the string represent? Because in the signature, it doesn't give us the message part. It just gives us the with part. Well, to fix this, we can say type alias. Let's say log message equals string. So now log message is a type alias for string. Go ahead and save that. And then instead of string, we can say log message. Okay. Now, let's see. Now, instead of string with its type completion, we can say logger.log. You can see with log message. Okay? And then we can again say info. And in place of log message, we can put our string. You can see how this makes much more sense, where we say logger.log level being .info, so log and info message with a log message. You can see how that reads easier, but again, this is where the controversy with type aliases rears its head, because again, people might say, okay, yeah, that reads better, and that's a valid argument, but it still might be slightly confusing to people who are new to the code base. And again, that's also a valid point. I myself don't use type aliases in this way. I just use the normal types like string and stuff like that because I'm familiar with my own code bases and all that stuff. But again, you do you. If you want to use type aliases, by all means do it. It's entirely up to you. So let's go ahead and say we want to have this is a log message. All right, save it, run, and we get a build failed. Let's see what we got. consecutive. Okay. What we want. Okay, I wonder. Is that no, that's not an error with my enum, I don't think, but let's take a look at what we have here. If I can find my cursor, that would be fantastic. But my cursor seems to be uncooperative. So what we'll do is let's see. Let's go through our code. I believe. Okay, let's see here. Okay, hopefully my cursor is now going to actually be cooperative. Looks like it is. Okay, so the error is on this line. So it is an issue with our enum. Let's go ahead and change this. Okay. Okay, there we go. Now, if we try to run it, we still get a build failed, okay? Okay. We need to close out that quote. And save it. We should be good now. Okay. And there we go. We get our little log message. So that pretty much is it with type aliases. There's not much else to them, really. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we will see you all in the next one.